Welcome to What God Can Do Ministries. One of the things we do is we turn the light on to banish darkness, and we want to open things up. It's an election time, and the three main parties have totally deceived the public with the collusion of the BBC and the Sky Television, and they pretend there's only one of three choices, and actually there's a choice of three parties that all believe the same thing, and basically it's musical chairs with the same old politics. Even though they lie about it and say they're new, they're not, and they want to go back. And I have with me Mike Wieteska, and he is, I'm glad to say, with the United Kingdom Independence Party. We need to get the shackles of Europe thrown off our shoulders, whereas those three parties say we desperately need Europe.
Yes, they say that we desperately need the shackles. Only UKIP wants to remove those shackles and promises to do it.
And it will save us how much a year?
It will save us £6.5 billion net. That £6.5 billion in a few years could fund enough nuclear generators so that we don't have an energy crisis that is now looming. Or it could go to fund other things. It could go to fund hospitals, it could go to fund Trident, but it's £6.5, I didn't say million, billion, £45 million every day gross. Total that we lose every year, £6.5 billion going to other countries. There has been a massive transfer of wealth from Great Britain to other nations that you, the taxpayer, have been forced to give. But not only have you been forced to give it, you're paying the pensions, the inflated salaries of all these people in Europe that are now making 80% of your laws. Now for UKIP, it's the politics of the insane asylum, and of course the three old parties don't want to talk about this because they're sold out into the system.
So in other words, what you're saying is that the laws of this country are really determined in Europe by an unelected body, commissioners, and they interfere with our businesses, they interfere with our running of our nation, they interfere with our tax system, they interfere with everything.
This is absolutely correct, Michael. More and more and more. It started with Ted Heath conning us into going into the common market, telling the British people that it was merely a trade organisation. That was the thought. We thought we were going in for that. So, okay, we went in for that. And UKIP have been warning, and other people, many people in the Christian world have been warning that this is a developing superstate. Well, now we have it. We have a European Union that has its own competences, that has its own ambassadors, its own diplomatic service, its own legal service. It has the European arrest warrant. British people have been taken overseas without habeas corpus. They've rotted in prison for up to 2 years before ever being able to face charge, and this government has done absolutely nothing about it. All these things are the result of being in this European Union. It is not an economic organisation. It is an entity that, like salami, it has been growing like a salami while our privileges, our democracies have been shrinking, slice by slice, ever so slightly, slice by slice, so you don't notice it. But here we are.
And if they lose in the election, they lose their seat, they can always get nominated to go over to Europe and get a fat salary like Kinnock did, Neil Kinnock.
Oh yes, and others.
And his wife.
Yes.
And yes. I mean, and then I think there was Mandelson, who now claims to be in charge of trade and industry, but has done a lot of damage. Had to resign twice from the cabinet when he was an MP, basically. And you know, we've got Brown saying, "Oh, I'm going to clean up politics." First thing you should do is clear him out of the House of Lords.
The paper said it's a manure parliament. The paper said it's a rotten parliament. We cannot forget this. The three old parties, Liberals included, created the rotten parliament, the manure parliament. The British people are so sick that it's going to be hard to get them out to the vote and vote, because they know just how rotten the politicians have been, that they have been voted in. They feel conned, and they rightly feel conned.
But what about this new man on the block, Nick Clegg, who claims he's not part of it?
Nick Clegg is as much a part of it as the others. In fact, he is from the belly of the beast. He was brought up in the European Union system. He was there under Leon Britton.
Over in Europe?
Over in Europe, yes.
In Brussels?
In Brussels, yes.
Living off us?
Living off us, yes.
And now he pretends he's nothing to do with it.
Well, that's what he says. You make your own judgment.
Yeah. Now, you know, one of the things that troubles everyone in this country is law and order.
Right.
Now, the Labour Party lie and say crime's fallen by 7% in the last year, but in truth, what they've done is redefined what the police register as crime, and some of the chief constables, in order to keep their jobs, have actually falsified the figures according to the reports I read in the papers. And what's happening is, in London, I know, that people are afraid to walk on the streets. Children are afraid to go in the wrong postcode area, yes. Otherwise they get knifed.
Right, yes. Now, people feel there's something fundamentally wrong. UKIP are going to put more police on the beat. They're going to stop the quangos, all the signing of forms. They're going to get real so that we can do real policing as we used to have real policing.
And so they're going to change the idea that the police can't charge someone, I hope, and get rid of this stupid system they've got now, where it goes to a lawyer who doesn't know his face from his whatever, and basically you find that the criminals are put back on the street.
Exactly. The Human Rights Act has been used by lawyers to line their own pockets and to defend the criminals. And UKIP are going to change all that.
So UKIP is promising to give us back our nation. That's totally different than you'll hear from Cameron. It's totally different. Well, Gordon Brown, the only thing he wants is to retain power so he can bankrupt us further and spend more money that we don't have on schemes that don't work, in hospitals that kill you instead of curing you, and education establishments that seem to teach kids how to misbehave, not behave. So we need to look, and then the Liberals who promise you anything if you vote for them. And UKIP is different. If you want a difference, find out who represents you. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you, Michael.